welcome everyone to Saturday Let's Begin There series. What is Let's Begin There? Let's Begin There series is an attempt for people like you and me to come and acknowledge their journey and the struggles that they've been through and to share that struggle and the journey and how they've overcome it with people. Why to share it with people? So that they also realize that they are not alone in this life, and maybe they learn something from what you are doing. Maybe they get some inspiration from what you are doing and how you are overcoming these things. So Let's Begin There is all about that. It's to appreciate and celebrate the struggles that you've been through and to celebrate and appreciate your journey that you have come so far and you are yet to go so far, right? So for everyday, our everyday game changer for today is Shushti Chatwal. Who is Shushti Chatwal? She calls herself the Light Warrior. Light Warrior? Yes. So when I tell you more about her, you will know who Shushti Chatwal is and why does she call herself the Light Warrior. And while I am inviting her to our page, I will just explain 1 second. Shirshti hasn't joined us yet, so might as well share a little bit about her. So Shirshti is a fun-loving person and she loves adventure to the core. What she does and why she calls herself the Light Warrior is because she loves to work with children. She works with children to help them cope with their skills and update their life skills. And because Shirshti has joined us, let us just get on board and hear from her. Directly hear from her. Shirshti is joining us. And she'll be there with us in 3, 2, 1. Hi, Shirshti.
Hi, Tanya.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, Shirshti, you are able to hear me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, lovely. I can hear you too. So I'm glad there's no problem with our audio today. Awesome. So, Shirshti, why don't you introduce yourself to us? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I joined in between where you were introducing me. So why don't you go first and then I will acknowledge that and go ahead.
Okay, that is also fair.
Your
So,
version of me.
okay, so she was an intern at PwC, but then she realized that is not what she wants to do, and she indulged in this discovery, in this space where she realized she needs to get in touch with herself, and uh, went in the path of meditation and really aligning with her true inner self to recognize and realize what she really wants to do. And what she really wants to do is to help children out with their learning and to help them both with their special needs and everything. Shruti, I think you will have to explain this part a little more in detail because it's more impactful as compared to what I'm saying right now. And Shruti loves to explore, and she had mentioned something just yesterday that the awareness of fear excites her. That is so beautiful. I am so inspired by that, and I'm trying to hold on to continue. Whenever I am aware of my fear, I'm trying to feel excited because of you, Shruti. Thank you. So now,
Thank
please
you.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Tanya. So that's true. Like I started out with the Fin background. I mean, I'm just sharing my career uh, placements. So I start because it has a very important role to play in the kind of person that I became and I am becoming. And so I started out exploring Fin background. However, no matter how grueling it was, and once was my dream to be at the best, having reached that point, I just realized, oh, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Where once I dreamt this would be my dream to live. However, that was the turning point, like when I was at PwC, like you mentioned, and there's a deep connection how we met through a person there. Yes. So then I started to explore. I was feeling completely lost, and I started to explore myself, that who truly I am, what is that I am here for, and what am I supposed to do with my life. which serves me, something which is just not money, something beyond it, something that pushes and empowers me to look beyond money and fulfills my inner calling. And in the discovery, there are a lot of things that came out. However, the starting point was when I started to work with children. I always, even while I was in the fin background, I was working with children. But all the kind of miseries we go as human beings, nobody talks about it. Every time we want to show the good picture or how successful we are, but nobody talks about the downfalls. Nobody talks about making mistakes. Nobody talks about failures. And if somebody even fails in life, or maybe in an exam, or not, maybe at par with the societal levels, then we are like, oh, he's a failure. All these stigmas, I started to question all these stigmas, and I wanted to break through. And in that journey, I found out that I love working with children, and not just on maybe academic level. No, I moved to working on their socio-emotion levels, where every emotion has a belief serving to it, which affects our mind, body, and soul. And it pushes us to pursue something that we truly are meant for. Every person has a unique quality, and instead of cherishing that, we we go on the paths that's just satisfying and filling our tummies and plates. So that pushed me to question and start working with children. The gap that we have in our education system, the mainstream gap, where we are told to study this, score this much, and get a job, make it to the top, maybe IIMs and Ivy League colleges, but nobody questions the why you want to do it. So I started working with children on these nuances that helps them question why you are here, why you want to work, and what is that something that pushes you, which is beyond money, that will help you serve yourself and fulfill your dreams, and um, maybe go beyond the triggers and believe yourself a little more. So yeah.
That was so beautifully put, Shirshti, that you recognize that there is a gap in our education system where, we are just surrounded by these cultural ideas that we have to be like a particular person, or, we have to work towards money and money is everything. But you had that courage to look beyond and to recognize that no, there is a gap and you need to fulfill these gaps, and you realize that working with children will help you accomplish that to even better their futures. That was so beautiful, Shishti. What I want to know now is what are the everyday struggles that you face in your life?
I think the big question is that I always ask myself, that puts me in a deep quest, is how to be yourself when the world wants you to be something else. So that is a big time struggle. Like every time there's an effort that you have to be someone or be like someone,
Mm.
that is a big time struggle, which I am in the process to always be myself and believe that who I truly am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, even putting your thoughts out to people, that this is what I believe.
Mm.
Everybody gets offended. I mean, however, I found the solution to it, using the right word and communicate using your switch tools, using the right kind of words, acknowledging their emotions and relating to them what they feel, and also be yourself. Yeah.
Mm.
So that is
Recognize,
the
yeah.
struggle that I faced.
Struggle that you face is that you've been in this position where you were questioning whom to be or should I be me, and then realizing and recognizing that it is being able to communicate through the right words of what you believe in and who you truly are and accepting.
Right. Precisely.
So, so Shushti, what is that? How have you overcome this, or how are you overcoming this particular struggle?
Like I just mentioned, using the right communication tools helps us to express our feelings and also
Mm,
relate to the other person and identify the kind of problem they are facing. So it helps us relate better. And communication is a very strong way where you can, just relate to that person and yourself expressing who you are, and just have a, a good takeaway from that conversation. Sometimes it goes so bad. So that is how I am trying to overcome.
So, how you're trying to overcome it is by using communication as a tool, where you are
Right.
trying to understand the other person and trying to understand where are your particular feelings coming from, and uh, in and even however the conversation is going, trying to, how do you put it, trying to balance out and just see the perspective, listen to it from others perspective. So but Shishi, at what point did you realize that it is communication and trying to understand the other person's perspective as well, that is the core in being who you want to be and believing in yourself and just being you? Yeah.
I'm quite a chatty person. Like I can truly go on for hours. However, uh, inculcating this art of listening, which we are never taught. I mean, we always speak about good communication skills, but this beautiful skill that is art of listening, which I am working on, has helped me to, understand the nuances of silence.
Okay, so you have been a chatty person, and so you realize that listening is something that is very important when it comes to communication. As much as talking is important, so is the listening part. So that is where you realize that you need to, and it is probably the communication that needs to work.
Right.
So, what would you like to tell our audience over here if they also feel somewhere similar to how you've been, or they are resonating with your struggles right now? What would you like to tell them? How can they go
Tanya, could you please come again? I lost you in the middle.
about? So, with our audience who are listening to you right now, probably they have been through the same struggles as you are going through. They are probably realizing that it is very important to be themselves, to be me and not anybody else, and you are overcoming this particular struggle of being you, but through the process of communicating, understanding what is the other person feeling, what are the right words that need to be used in the communication, and putting yourself in other shoes. And you mentioned about listening, art of listening being the key somewhere. So how would you what would you say? What should the audience do? How can they, integrate these aspects in their life?
So the core that lies is that you truly have to know who you are. I mean, that's the very important basis of anything. And not denying the fact that who you are and accepting yourself with all goods and bads. I mean, the biggest problem here is we don't appreciate ourselves enough. The moment we start doing that, half of the problem is solved. So that journey takes immense amount of courage, immensely.
Mm,
I mean, just understanding who I am truly. I mean, no matter where you are at this point of your life, but that question, just asking that, scares the hell out of people. And it did to me, and it still does all the time. But to have that belief that I still am going to ask that question and listen to my inner voice and follow my truth, what I truly believe in. And that helps you do the right thing every time, no
mm,
matter how persuasive the situation is, no matter how distracted you might feel. But that sort of pushes you to be on that path, in that alignment, absolutely
Which is
aligned, basically.
mm. It pushes you to be on that path and in that alignment. So let's begin where, Shristi?
Let's begin now. now,
Let's
now,
begin now.
now is now is all we got.
Now is all we got. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
So, Shristi, with that, there are some questions that have come up, and I will be sharing it with you right now. There is a Nidhi who is asking, how did you deal how did you deal to dichotomous situation where which were against societal expectations, and what are your learning from those? Um, is the question here, or let's begin.
So
So what?
Nidhi, she is one of the very important people in my life. She is my sister.
Uh-huh.
And the question is coming is quite a difficult one to answer. I mean, I didn't expect her asking me such difficult questions.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, the here the question is the most challenging situation that I struggled in life again was um uh, to put out myself out there uh, on the family front with my parents. I'm talking in regards to the most closest people in my life, my parents, and just tell them that, look, uh, you know, I think I might want a career switch, which so because there's a lot of society pressures, that that everybody goes through. However, the response that came from their end is tremendously beautiful. I mean, no matter, I just feel so light that I don't have to think twice what my parents will think. This has solved my problem to such an extent that just makes me feel so supportive and aligned, and where I'm able to communicate to my mother that, listen, this is this. She's like, you don't worry about you follow your heart and go for it. That's what she says every time, no matter how bad the situation gets. Even
Yeah.
the transitions that I am into right now, I was not able to talk about it earlier, but when lately I had heart to heart conversation with her where I was so scared that how would she react to it and what would her response be, and she was like, oh, itni si baat thi. It's your life. It's very important that you take decisions on your own and follow your heart. Why were you overthinking all of this so much? It just, you go out and do it. And I was like, why was it so difficult in my head? So that was quite a surprise, which I thought was the difficult situation. But using the right words and putting my heart out there helped me problem solve, and just uh, made me feel so light.
Putting your heart out there and sharing what was coming up for you with your mother, and your mother was so supportive. She has, so beautifully she said it ki, oh yes, it's your life, you should do what makes you happy and things like that.
And I
Thank you
was
so
like,
much for sharing. Go for it.
yeah. I was very scared because the kind of upbringing I have had, we were born and raised in a strict environment in a way that my parents have been very particular about the
Mhm.
behaviors that we put out, and I always thought that they'll judge me, but they did not. I mean, I the biggest fear was that there will be a lot of uh, uh, maybe arguments related to it. However, they were so open and accepting, and they were like, do what you feel, don't think about what people has to say, just go,
Yeah.
follow your heart, and push yourself hard enough that you make something great out of life. And the lines that my father said was, make sure that you do something big, not to satisfy the society but yourself, which
Mm.
helps you serve your soul. And he's the
Do something.
most strict person that I know, and I was expecting that he was maybe going to lash out and be like, you are so unfocused, you don't know what to do in life. I'm like, thank God that it didn't come out that way, where I was all these years thinking it'll happen that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I was quite surprised.
So you took the courage to open up and express yourself to your parents, even though you were scared that you don't know what's your reaction going to be. And it turned out to be such a beautiful thing, because I feel that you're feeling very liberated or free right now, that I have my parents' support and all I had to do was just speak up and share.
Correct.
And what your father said is so important. Don't do something big, but don't do something big for society. Do it for your own soul and for your own purpose. Wow.
And the byproduct of which will be you'll be creating impact in the world through your
Yeah,
actions, which are rigged in that favor.
yeah. Creating the larger impact on the world. So beautiful. We have another question for you, Shushti.
Sure.
This is Poetic Memories, Anthony Arakel, who was our last time's everyday game changer. He's asking you, how does one continue to believe in oneself uh, after taking a number of rejections and setbacks?
Right. So I will not deny the fact that I've been through this a lot, and I still was going through it just last week, and I was in the dogma, like, how am I going to overcome this? My According to me, as per my experience, when I just sat down with myself and not be triggered by the by so many questions, expectations that we build within ourselves, because when you have clarity, uh, that you put out your actions, then there are rejections. So all I could realize was that rejection is good. I mean, there's something bigger behind it, because it is again aligning, helping you align your actions in the direction which is truly meant for you. Now, in
Mm,
that moment, that phase becomes very difficult, where you're anxious, where you feel like crying, where you are so taken aback that you feel vulnerable. Um the most difficult but the most simple way I found out for myself was just sit in silence, meditate, and even if you find meditation difficult, you can simply visualize where you are and where you want to be. What is that you truly want in that moment? Just sit in silence and visualize that. And the moment you're able to do that, there is some rush, flush of energies that just pours down from heaven or something, that helps you feel so much better without getting, uh, uh, you know, without anything else, being dependent on anything else. So it just, uh, I think the greatest philosophers in the world have said that everything is within you. It is true. It is.
mm, okay. So the question asked to you was, how does one accept the rejection and still continue to believe in themselves? And you mentioned that rejection is somewhere, it is something good, because there is a greater reason for it which you are not able to see in that moment. So it is in a way helping you to align with what you really require. And but you're still very overwhelmed when you receive rejection in that moment. So what one can do in that moment is just sit with themselves. If you can meditate, good enough. If you're not able to meditate, just try to visualize where you are right now and where you want to be, and then you will be able to see what is it. And there is this sudden rush of energy that you said is coming from the heaven, or you feel it that way, that it is coming from somewhere, and it just guides you and motivates you to
Right,
to do the best.
right.
That was so powerful. I think I'm going to do this too. Yeah, I
It
had no idea
works
that this is what
every
we can do
time.
when
It
you
works
face
every time.
rejections or something, and it's difficult for you to believe in yourself. At this visualization part, I think I'm writing that down. I'm gonna start doing it.
Please go ahead. It has worked wonders for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Shushti. How are you feeling right now, having shared your experiences and having answered a few questions? Right?
It feels great. So I had an archaic kind of belief system, which I would like to share, that I am not going to be on social media. It's like, thank you, Tanya, for pushing me to be on Instagram. It was such a headache for me. I will not deny that fact. It was to download, figure it out, and be like, how to be on Instagram. I mean, the world is on it. The world has moved it now. Tanya, you inspired me, truly inspired me, That pep talk that you gave me that, the world is on Insta, you better be on Insta. Then I'm like, I want to be a conscious user of social media. Then I now I think I have to work on that. It's my first day on Instagram, so after a very long period of time, I've not been here. But
Mm,
I mean, I never used this handle, but I
yeah,
think you inspired me, and I'm just sharing and talking to people. I think feel so good, feel so connected, and it's quite a blessing, which
yeah.
I did not explore earlier because I generally stay off tech, off phone calls, and I mean, literally a limited use of tech that I am on. So feels great.
Feels great. And you rightly said that it is about consciously using social media. And on your very first day, you have literally very consciously used your Instagram because you, I think, helped and inspired a lot of people. I am one of them for sure. And there are many more that are going to be who are going to watch your life and be inspired by you. How are you feeling with the journey that you've shared with us?
Good, truthful.
Good? Okay,
Yeah.
that's something. Thank you so much for joining us, Shirshti. Would you like to say or add or anything before we conclude our today's live session?
Yeah. Something that I learned from my journey is very important, that you love yourself. I mean, it's very important to believe in who you are and what you want to do, irrespective of the fact where you are right now, what your age factor is, what your parents think, what society thinks. Keeping all of that away, you have to truly ask yourself, and there's this very strong inner voice that'll guide you. The key factor is to have that courage to listen to it and follow it, and not be scared of putting out yourself in the world. It's scary each day. There are a lot of rejections that are going to be when you're going to follow your path. Immense, and that'll break your heart. But it's good because a lot of light enters when you break your heart. So because when then you start understanding life better, you start being humble, you start being truthful,
Mm,
and all of the xyz factors does not matter. You just are able to remember less because you're speaking your heart out.
yeah, yeah, that,
And uh, besides that, two more very important factors that I would like to add that we should focus on is embracing silence. I mean, it's very important to be silent because we have this monkey mind that keeps chatting all the time. And the voice inside of our heads, we became slaves of it. So it's very important to, sort of nurture it and ensure that what it's in here is positive and not against us. So silence helps you really reflect what's in here and understand that are my thoughts really serving me, or it's someone else's voice inside my head that is working against me. That, and third most important thing is put out actions. Just talking does not help, or just talking good things does not help. I mean, of course that ignites the power within, but until and unless you put out actions in the right direction, uh, uh, it's going to be so just it's going to be a state of where you're just floating. So alignment of your what you believe in and what you are doing with your heart, it's very important. So actions have to be precisely in the direction where your vision is placed.
So believing in yourself, sitting in silence, embracing silence, and reflecting,
And aligning your
and,
actions. Aligning your
and
actions.
aligning your actions. Not just using the words, but actually putting in the actions in what
Right.
you want or how you want things to be.
Right.
That is beautifully summed up, Shushti. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
Tanya.
joining us today. We're
Thank you for having me on Instagram. I will use it now.
Yes, consciously.
Consciously. Yes, consciously. I'm
Yeah,
connecting with
absolutely.
people now. I'm stepping up, stepping up. Yay. you know, a lot of people pushed me, questioned me. Oh God, you're not on Instagram. I said, no, not on Instagram. Now I
Hmm.
am.
Now you are. Only to use it consciously and to help people
Just
through your
welcome myself 20 minutes back on Instagram.
yes,
Yes.
that's perfect.
Now, next task is to follow people.
Yes, connecting consciously.
Right.
Using it consciously and connecting consciously. Perfect.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks.
You have quite a supportive person in my journey and pushed me and helped me ask the right question. Seriously, that helps me really question what is the belief system behind it. So, thank you for that.
I'm glad, Shirshti. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome, Tanya. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Okay. So that was Shushti, our everyday game changer, who has talked about communicating and reflecting, sitting in silence, learning the art of listening to be able to communicate effectively. And there is so much that she has shared that we have connected on today. If you want to be a part of the Everyday Game Changers, if you have something to share with us, you can be a part of Everyday Game Changers too. All you have to do is just let me know in the DMs or in the comments, or you can go to the link in the bio and fill up the form, and I will get in touch with you when you can come on board, share your journey, share your struggles, and what would you like to tell people if you want them to create a difference, if you want to create a difference in other people's lives. It helps you to acknowledge your journey, and it helps others to feel that they are not alone. And there are so many ways that you can overcome that one problem which all of us are facing together. And let me know, what are your key takeaways? What are you learning from this particular session, this particular live session that we had? What are your key takeaways, and what would you want people to talk about? Maybe we can get them on board as well. Maybe one of them might have something to share on that perspective. So let us know, what are you learning from it, or what did you learn about yourself from this particular series? And we will meet you next Saturday with our another Everyday Game Changers, who's going to have something very exciting to share with you. Exciting, thoughtful, mm, something that is going to inspire you and things like that. I'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks for joining.